Welcome to LSC. It's Sports Time. I'm your host, Bob Hintz. Today I have with me James Daniel, who is the head basketball coach over at Phoebus High School. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
I'm glad to have you in here. We're going to talk a little about you growing up, because you took a different route to get where you got.
Absolutely.
Where you are now, I
Yes,
should
sir.
say. You grew up in the D.C. area.
Yes.
Playing ball as a kid.
Yes.
And where did you play as a kid? Did they have rec leagues or?
Well, actually, we didn't play too much regularly. We played out in the park, in our neighborhood, pickup games, a lot of street ball back in the day.
But you didn't do just basketball.
No, I played baseball, played football, did some swimming for the YMCA.
Right.
Back and then, you played everything.
Just year round?
Year round. Actually, you might have played 3 sports in one day.
Oh, really?
Yes, absolutely.
Whatever was going on.
Yeah, we play basketball in the morning, then we might hit the football field, then later on in the day we play a little baseball.
How about that?
Yes.
And then where'd you go to junior high school?
I went to junior high school at John Hanson in Maryland.
Okay.
Went there. I was the only, it was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. I was the only 7th grader that made the team. Wow. Yes. Coach called me in. He said, son, I love your spirit. You play hard. He says, however, you're going to be the last man on this team. Do you want to be on this team? And I remember I went home. I told him yes. I went home and I worked every morning at 5:30. And eventually I ended up starting for the team.
You started?
For my
and was the
middle school
last
team.
one to make it as a 7th grader?
7th grader.
Point guard?
Point guard, yes.
Well, you had to fall in love with basketball.
Oh, I did. I did.
And got a passion for it that is still there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Talk a little bit about the coaches and of course he kind of put pressure on you right then by saying, you're the last man on the team.
Yes.
But what are some of the things that you learned from him at a young age?
Well, I learned that nothing is going to be given to you. You have to earn everything you get.
Right.
And I learned also that if you persevere, you can have success. It might not be immediate, and so you have to give up some things also.
Okay, what'd you have to give up?
You had to give up, a lot of times I had to go to bed early at night, at 9:30, couldn't watch TV at night because I knew I wanted to get up early in the morning to get my workout. And I had a good friend who worked out with me every morning, Antoine Douglas.
Well, see,
Yes.
and so you weren't by yourself.
No, I wasn't by myself.
And you really kind of put pressure on you. Said, if I don't show up and Antoine's there, he's not going to be happy.
No, he's not going to be happy because we needed both of us to make it work.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then you played on the freshman team. They had a freshman team at the high school.
At the high school. Well, we moved from Maryland to Virginia, to Manassas, Virginia.
Okay.
Went to Stonewall Jackson. And in Stonewall, they had a 9th grade freshman team, 10th grade team, and a varsity team.
Okay.
So I played on the 9th grade team. We actually went undefeated that year. So the next year, I got promoted to the varsity team as a guard.
So you skipped over the 10th grade team.
Skipped over the 10th grade team and went to the varsity.
Well, the coach had to be beside himself. I'm talking about the varsity coach, because he sees the 9th grade team go undefeated. He's thinking, man, I'm hitting these guys.
Oh, absolutely.
But he got you a year earlier than he probably would have thought he would have got you.
Yeah, I think so. I had good ball handling skills back then. Because I was coming from the city, moving to the suburbs, and they just wasn't used to the ball handling skills that I had and I was bringing to the table.
How did you develop those? I mean, just from playing against each other and watching somebody else do it?
Actually, playing and growing up in Washington, D.C., you play against a lot of older kids.
Right.
And so playing against them, learning different skills, how to handle the ball, how to move from one place to another with the ball, kind of helped me develop my skills to that point.
So as a 10th grader, you became a starter on the varsity?
Actually, I came off the bench that year, my 10th grade year. Yes.
Okay.
And that year
But you played a lot.
Oh yeah, I played a lot. Yes, I played. Yes, absolutely.
But go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's fine.
But as a 10th grader, you're playing with all older guys.
Yes.
Because you had a 10th grade team.
Yes,
so.
we had a sophomore team, and basically the varsity team was juniors and seniors during that time period.
Right. So how did they react to you being as young as you were?
I don't think it was any adverse situations where they felt indifferent or they felt a threat. I fit right in with the guys, older guys, and I was just always dedicated.
You had played with older guys.
Yes,
so.
Absolutely.
But see, you're a point guard. You're like the quarterback out there on the team, so you're kind of directing these older guys.
Yeah, and that never bothered me at all in reference to that point, because I was more so always like a coach in my mind in reference whatever coach needs to be done, that's what needs to be done.
Right. So how was your success in the 3 years you were in the varsity? How did the school do?
Actually, we went from Coach Donovan, who was a head coach. He's the coach at Granby now.
Okay.
He left and went to Garfield. Then we had another coach came in. His name was Pat Brizzi. He came in and brought new life to the program, and we are still good friends today.
Okay. So you develop, and a lot of people don't realize that when you play sports, you develop relationships that go forever.
Oh, forever.
You never lose them.
Never lose them. Great guy. I was just home this past weekend. My nephew graduated from high school, and my other cousin was there who was maybe 4 or 5 years younger, and he was telling the story how coach came up to him and told him, hey, you got some hard shoes to fill because your cousin was the best defensive player I ever coached in my life. So he said he was under pressure the whole time he was in high school. But yeah, Pat Brizzi, he was an excellent coach, a lot of fire, a lot of desire. He really, if anybody influenced me, he said, you know what, I would love to coach one day when I'm finished playing.
Okay, and see, that was already started as developing in your mind about being a coach. But now you graduate and you don't go to college. You go a different route.
No, I go straight into the Air Force. I had an uncle who was in the Air Force, Pam Marlowe, and I had experience. We was picking him up from Langley Air Force Base, and we go out on the runway, and he was in the same company of Daniel James, Chappie, 4-star general, and he comes off the airplane, this 4-star general, black general that I've never seen before. I didn't even know they had black generals back then. Right. So he comes off the airplane, and he asks us, my father and myself, hey, would y'all like to ride with us, to the airport? Well, it was unique because his name was Daniel James, and my name is James Daniel. So the Air Force kind of like enlightened me at that time. And plus, I promised my mom that I would get my education, college degree. So I was killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
You're getting paid.
I'm getting paid.
You're going to college.
I'm going to college.
But you didn't give up playing ball.
No, sir. No, sir.
The whole time you were in the military.
No, sir. Enjoyed it.
And then you were stationed over to England.
Yes.
You got to play with people from all over the United States and all over the world, really.
And that was an experience within itself, because here I am, 19 years old. I'm playing with guys 28, 29, 24. A lot of older guys who's been in the service, and some guys who just finished college, and they're playing basketball. 4 years of college, and here I am, 19, made to all Europe for 3 years, traveled all over the world. So it was a quite experience for me.
It was unbelievable.
Yes.
And your wife also in the Air Force?
Yes, my wife was in the Air Force, and that's how I came to Hampton, Virginia.
Yeah, because I was wondering, how did you make that move to here?
She got stationed here. I got out the service. I had finished my degree, got out the service, and I always wanted to settle in a place to make a difference in the community. That was in the back of my mind. Right. I wasn't thinking about 20 years when I went in.
Right.
So I came here to Hampton, and when I moved here to Hampton, David Six was at Langley Air Force Base also, and him and I used to play pickup on base, and we was just talking about coaching, and he had said that he had went over to Bethel, and I don't know what happened, but it didn't happen good for him, so he ended up at Hampton High.
Right.
So he said, you should go over to Bethel, talk to him. They got 2 young guards over there that I think you'll really help.
And those young guards were?
Tony Rutland and Allen Iverson. Yes.
You talk about fall run and had no idea. But you never had seen these 2 guys play at all?
Never. Didn't even know their names. When I walked to the gym, Tony was in the gym, and I said, this kid has talent. Allen Iverson was on the football team.
That's right.
And they talked so much about him. When I finally saw him was after the state championship game, and he came in the gym. The next night we played kick and he dropped 33 points.
And I was at that ball game because
yes.
we televised the state championship. And after the state championship in football, I'm talking to Alan. I says, well, what's next? He says, we're going to win the state championship in basketball. And, as a kid, you think this is bravado. You're just talking, right? Wins the state championship against EC Glass. Tuesday night play kick and he comes down the floor. Tony throws the ball up, he goes up, gets it, and slams dunk, and like he never walked off a basketball court. I've never seen a kid do that.
I had told my wife this is the best basketball player I've ever seen. And I've been in Europe for 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was amazing.
But even Ronald Curry, as good as Ronald was, it would take him a few games to get what they call basketball.
Yeah, get his basketball legs.
Right.
Yes.
But Allen never lost his basketball.
Never lost it. Never lost it. But he was a workaholic that a lot of people didn't know. He would leave football practice and go over to Jeff Davis and play basketball. So he played all the time.
Cos probably didn't know about that either.
Yeah, I don't know if he did or he didn't know. So, but yeah.
So you go over as an assistant.
As assistant Mike Bailey.
With Mike Bailey.
Yes.
And talk about some of the guys, because we're talking about Jonathan Dean and
Yes.
Gaither and Dante Travis and of course Allen and Tony.
Yeah.
And Kelly Rogers. Talk a little bit about some of these guys.
Gaither was a sophomore. He was a steady player. He understood his role. We had Dante Travis, who I thought was the best defensive player in the state.
Right.
He actually checked most teams' best offensive player.
Right.
Because he was dedicated, went hard, but he was a coach within his own right himself.
And we talk about that. He's
Yes.
coaching now.
Yes, he is, and I keep in contact with him. Great guy, great individual, great family, and he was a tremendous person to coach. And then we had a kid named Aries. Aries. I can't think of his first name. Early Aries, yes. He was our center, 6'3", could box out, could get rebounds. So we had great role players around Tony and Allen, and I mean, we really gelled. And the other kid you had spoke about,
Kelly Rogers.
Kelly Rogers.
He was a kid come off the football field with Allen as a wideout.
And he played he was what, 6 feet, 6'1"?
Yeah.
He played the 4 for us.
Yeah.
Could play with everybody. Transition game was just crazy. He could really, really play.
That had to be such I don't know what the word is I want you, but you had to feel like blessed. Because you're helping coach a team that has and these kids know their roles.
And they were all guards predominantly, and I was a guard type of coach.
Right.
So it was like a dream come true for me. You know, my first experience coaching high school players.
Wow.
Yes.
And then win the state championship. But I look back at some of those games, and it was like, Early steps up.
Yes.
And Gaither steps up, and the left, he's the left-handed.
Yes, absolutely.
A couple shots, just where did he come from?
Yeah, down by 2, and he knocks down a jumper, and I mean, really tremendous effort from all the kids. And the bench was outstanding that year.
Yeah.
Although some of the guys didn't play that much, you would never tell because they were part of that team.
Right. Well, and that's who they had to play against all year in practice.
Yes.
So they had to be tough as they could be to make those other kids even better.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Who were some of the other coaches on the team with Mike Bailey?
We had Mike Bailey. We had Findolf Taylor.
My buddy Findolf.
Yeah, Findolf. Findolf at the time was a JV coach who was a head assistant on the varsity. Right. And he, made every varsity game. And we had a couple other coaches. I can't remember their name
Ray Burton,
now.
I believe.
Ray Burton sure was. Oh, Ray was there.
Yeah.
True blue, Ray.
So, that to be your first year is just unbelievable. Well, then after that, then you do some other things. You go go ahead.
That summer, Coach Parson at CNU called and said, "Hey, Coach, we got a coaching job open. We'd like for you to come interview." So I go up there, we talk, and she said she had this player named Karen. Karen Barefoot. Yeah. Who could really play. So I see this Karen coming to the gym. She's a little wobbly girl, about 5'4". I was like, is this the girl you're speaking of? So I took the job. She was All-American.
All-American.
She was like, I think she's the first player who scored over 2,000 points and had 1,000 assists. I mean, she has some type of crazy numbers, stats like that boys nor girls could say they have in college basketball.
So now you get to, you go from...
I got the cream of the crop.
Yeah, how do you just kind of fall in it?
Yes.
Somebody's looking out for you.
Yes. So then I get a call back from Bethel, say, hey, we have a JV job open. We'd like for you to come and apply for it. Mr. Pearson from Bethel High School, who's the principal at the time. Right. So I go back to Bethel, apply for the job, got the job, and then they brought Craig Breon on also as the head varsity coach.
Right.
Well,
Mike left.
Yeah. Mike left, and we was very successful. We won actually the JV district my first year, like 12 and 6. I mean, it was a tight district, and we was very competitive, and we was very fortunate that first year.
Wow. So, but you stayed there a long time.
Yes, I did. I had a great assistant coach, Ernest Marshall, who's still at Bethel today. He's still the JV coach,
Okay.
Ernest Marshall, and we had great success there.
But you were there for 10, 11 years.
10, 11 years just as a JV coach. That last 2 years I was at Bethel, I told Craig, I said, hey, I just think I want to come to the varsity, let Ernie take over the JV program.
Right.
And so I went to the varsity program
Right.
at that time.
And then the Bethel, the Phoebus job opened up.
Phoebus job opened. But I told Craig, I said, if that Phoebus job opened, I applied for Phoebus 3 times.
Oh, okay.
3 times.
Well, yeah, because they went through some coaches.
They went through some coaches. The first time I applied, I was one of the finalists. Second time I was applied, I was one of the finalists. Third time was the charm.
You got it.
Yes, Miss Phyllis Henry hired me.
Right.
Actually, it was Dr. Woods who hired me.
Okay.
Phyllis Henry was the principal part of Dr. Woods.
Right.
So Donna Woods hired me as the head
So
coach.
now you get over there and you turn that program around.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking all of a sudden Phoebus is to be reckoned with in the basketball court.
Well, I always knew Phoebus had talent.
Right.
Going over to Phoebus, everybody talked about the great coach of Bill D. And, they said, hey, Coach, Bill D is not an easy camper to get along with. Well, I said he's one of the most successful coaches I've seen in this area. So I would go on the football field and just watch Coach D work, coach, motivate, encourage, discipline, get these kids to another level.
Right.
So I took a lot of things that he was doing with the kids, brought it into the gym, and worked with our boys with it also.
Right. Well, now the first year you got the team, and comes January, and you lose some players because of academics. And that's got to hurt. Coach, I mean, you've worked with them all year long, and then all of a sudden, now I don't have them.
Well, I knew kids fail academically, some.
Right.
But I didn't know to that extent.
Would you lose how many?
We lost 8 kids. We had 13 kids on varsity. We lost 8. We were like 9-3 or 9-4. We was second, third place in the district.
Yeah.
We was in great shape. So going into the break, I was really, really hurting. So I went home that night, spoke with my wife, and I said, I didn't work for the school system at that time. I worked for Verizon.
Right.
So I went back and I said, hey, I need to get in the school system to make a difference in these lives of these young men.
Because in the school system, you can help monitor their grades. And, and I've always said this, to be a head coach, you need to be at the school so that the kids on those teams and the other kids know that you're there. And you can make a difference.
I think it helps. I think that you can be more of an advocate for the kids. I think, it's a twofold thing. It's kids doing what they're required to do and letting the teachers know the kids really care. They might not show it all the time based on their background and their experience, but they do really care and they want to be successful. They want to go to college.
Right.
So after that first year, we sat down with the coaches. We said, hey, guys, this is the second year. I said, listen, we got to change what we consider winning here at Phoebus High School. We got to consider winning as far as academic being successful in the classroom.
Right.
So that's what we're going to consider winning now. So we're going to focus on that. So that next year we lost like 4 players to academics.
So you cut it in half.
We cut it in half. Well, this was the turning point. I got with my coaches. I said, okay, how many players do we think we're going to lose next year? We're 8, 4. So what's tradition say? Oh, now it's going to be 2. Well, one coach, Brian Darden, said, Coach, we're not going to lose any players. It's 0. We no longer lose players anymore here at Phoebus High School. I said, I agree. I said, not only will we not...
So you at the point said, I'm not going to accept losing anybody.
No, I said, we want students playing for our team who want to go to college. We want to have players who want to go to college and play basketball or who want to win in the classroom and on the basketball court.
So the third year?
Third year, lost no one. Sent every kid, our seniors, to college.
Every one of your seniors went to college?
We had 2 seniors that year. It was A.J. Hester, who went to Methodist, and we had Craig Fortune, Josh's brother, went to Shenandoah.
Oh.
Yes.
So you talk about a program, you not only turned it around athletically, But academically, you took it from 8 to 4 to none.
Yes.
That couldn't continue playing ball because of the grades at the end of the first semester.
Absolutely. And at the last game of the season, we was in, I think it was in 9th place. Bethel, we played Bethel the last game of the season, and we beat them. I was so proud of the boys because we were getting better each and every night.
Right.
They were working the system. They was working hard. We just wasn't talented that year. But that last game, we was jumping around. I said, guys, we made the playoffs because I have never been in a position of 9th and 10th place.
Right.
So I thought we was in the playoffs. I didn't know we wasn't in the playoffs till I went to the coaching meeting. And they said, you know, I was trying to see where we seated. All right, we got the number 1 team, but I didn't care because we're playing the best basketball. We'll play anybody in the state right now. Well, Coach, your season's over.
You didn't make it to the tournament.
I didn't make it to the tournament. Well, that fired us up. So that next season, we had a young kid, Brian Darden, who was coming up from JV. We had a great JV team. Had great 9th graders coming up. So that next year, we was very successful.
Yeah,
above 500.
And you know, I've watched you over there, and I've just been amazed to see the progression that your teams have made each year. But
thank you.
Did not know about the academics, and I think that's just awesome.
Yes.
All right, we're going to talk about coaching your son.
Okay.
Now, your son's a good ball player,
Well,
but
you
know, a lot of pressure on him playing for his daddy, and a lot of pressure on you playing your son.
It is, and you know, we talk about it. We talk about it with the coaching staff, and I have a great coaching staff. They're very supportive because I tell them, hey, you take care of him. You handle this. But you know, the beauty of this is that a lot of people look at it as pressure. I am probably the happiest, most proudest father in the United States because the relationship my son and I have built in these last 4 years that he's been in high school is priceless. I mean, we talk about everything. We're able to communicate, and we understand the difference of the basketball court and the house.
Okay.
Yes.
And Danny Mitchell was the same way. He says, I'm a coach on the field, but when we walk at home, I become a daddy.
And I love it. I love it. And you have to have my wife, Wendy. She's a great.
She's a good buffer, isn't she?
Yeah, she's a buffer. She's a buffer. She's enough. Let's you go to your room, you go to your room, and we meet downstairs in 20 minutes, have dinner, and we'll call it the night. So that makes a difference.
All right, talk a little bit about the talent that comes out of this 757 area.
Wow.
Where do we get it from?
I think it starts in the rec leagues. I have to say that. Right. I think our rec leagues, and I have to give this credit to the basketball. Boo Williams has really changed the way basketball is viewed just in the Hampton Roads area. You know, when I first came to this area, it was all football.
Right.
You know, you had your superstars. You had, Alonzo. You had your Allen Iverson. Right. But now you got a collective group. You got maybe a 3-tier, very talented group from Division I, Division II, Division III that's all in the same pool. And I have to credit Boo with that because Boo has created avenues for a lot of these kids to get better, to be in a program, to just play
and play
all
against
year.
Great talent.
Great talent from all over the country.
Yeah.
All over the country.
I can remember when I had Boo in here and we were talking and he told Sonny up there in Pennsylvania, up in Philadelphia, that he was going to start doing. He said, "Well, you want to come down here? There's no ball players in Virginia." Boo said, "Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Well, boys, he proved him wrong.
Yes.
But we're going to kind of wrap this thing up. This has been awesome, Coach. You really
yes.
But I want, and because you took your team from academics and you started looking at academics, I want you to explain why, again, that academics and how the academics and athletics go together, but the importance of both of them.
Well, we really started with some principles. We talked about, we have a slogan at Phoebus that we have sewn inside our sport jackets that we wear. We say, as a man thinketh, so is he. And we say, if you think you can do it, you will. Right. If you think you can't do it, you won't. So we talked about the stability of the program and the academics. If a kid really wants to go to the next level, it can't just be a dream. It can't just be a goal. It's got to be actions behind it. It has to. You have to form a partnership with these teachers, with your math teacher, with your English teacher. You know, we've had all that.
And let them know that you're interested
and that
in
we
this.
care. A lot of times they don't know what your goal is. They don't
Right.
know, hey, I want to go to college. They just think you want to be a basketball player. And I'm an advocate on the kids. Listen, don't allow the system to use you. Don't come in here and allow Coach Daniel to use you for 4 years just to play basketball. Get everything you can get out of me, out of the school system, so you can go to college and be successful and make a difference in the community.
Oh, I appreciate you coming in.
Thank
I
you,
love your
Bob.
passion.
Thank you, sir.
I want to thank you for tuning in to LSC and Sports Time. I want to thank my special guest, James Daniel. I'm your host, Bob Hintz. Until next time,